Welcome back, Fort Worth ISD teachers, principals, staff, and all our great employees. We hope you're rested, refreshed, and ready. And we're all back in person starting on August the 16th. I don't have to tell you the negative impact that COVID had on students everywhere, including here in our district. It hit just as our accountability ratings were strongly trending upward. Still, in one of the toughest times we've ever faced, there were a lot of bright spots. The brightest being you. Thank you for stepping up and showing you have what it takes to address any challenges ahead. 10 more bright spots. Our seniors earned more than $158 million in scholarships and grant offers. That's well above totals for 2020 and 2019. We offered a starting salary for new teachers of more than $58,000, one of the highest in our area, with money from last year's voter-approved TRE election. And we became part of the state's teacher incentive allotment. The TIA gives high-performing teachers an opportunity to substantially increase their compensation. Starting this fall, we will offer free meals for all students, and ESSER federal relief money will be used to provide free school supplies. You and students will return to schools with college-style learning areas, labs, career-focused studios, and workspaces, all funded by the 2017 bond program. And if you saw the towers going up this summer, you know that many more families will have new, strong internet connectivity, another project made possible by the TRE. Our Gold Seal programs and schools of choice continue to grow, including P-Tech academies and early college high school.
Next we have
this summer, 37 partner corporations and organizations signed a pledge to help prepare students for college and career success. Outstanding new partners include American Airlines, Facebook, and UNT Health Science Center at Fort Worth.
3, 2, 1.
Also this summer, we held an extensive program of academic and enrichment activities for everyone to catch up or accelerate their learning. 15,000 kids attended summer launch, 3 times the usual summer participation. Accelerated learning will continue over 14 Saturday Learning Quest sessions this fall. We're offering stipends for teachers who participate. While we're hoping we're in the closing stages of the pandemic, we're not out of the woods. Know that your safety is still our priority as we follow state mandates. We will encourage daily self-checks before work and school, employ social distancing to the best of our ability, clean campuses daily, urge frequent hand washing and sanitizing. And while we cannot require masks, we encourage anyone who wants to wear one to do so. You, the best teachers in North Texas, are just what our students need right now. That's why we have high expectations for rigorous, complex, and engaging grade-level instruction every day, and the full application of your skills, knowledge, perseverance, spirit, and enthusiasm. Because of COVID, many students have not had day-to-day structure and consistency in their learning in about a year and a half. Their needs could be immense. Just know that while much is expected of you, much will be provided. You can count on systems and support that are in place across this district. We're in this together, a partnership, to get students back on track, learning and achieving daily. We'll provide professional development, advice, and encouragement to help you meet students' social, emotional, as well as their academic needs. Also cheering you on this new school year are 9 people solidly on your side. Our Fort Worth ISD Board of Education.
Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back.
Welcome back to Fort Worth ISD. You are Fort Worth ISD.
Saludos y bienvenidos.
Welcome back.
Bienvenidos.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, teachers.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to school.
All 12,000 of our employees, and we're excited to see you extend your positive energy to the students and to our community this year.
You know, teachers, we can't do this without you. With your positive attitude and bringing that to our kids, we know that we'll have a successful year.
Whether this is your first year teaching or your 40th, I hope you're excited about this new year and the opportunity to touch the hearts and minds of our students.
We are so glad that you're going to be bringing all of your skills and all of your talents back into the classrooms with our young people. They need you more than ever.
I know what this year is about to be. We're about to look like rock stars, and it's because we've got the best in the world in our buildings ready to educate our young people.
We overcame a challenging year last year, and we know that we've got this year.
Nos da mucho gusto que estén de regreso este año escolar y esperemos estar aquí para apoyarlos en este año.
Look at what we had to overcome last year. You guys did a fantastic job fixing that, and we're going to do even better now.
And show everybody Fort Worth ISD is still #1 in Tarrant County.
Whether you're in a classroom or in a cafeteria, on an athletic field, on a school bus, on a stage, or in a laboratory, in a program of choice as well, you choose children, and that is remarkable.
And my friends, I want to thank you. We as a board want to thank you for all of your time, your investment, and your sacrifices that you have put into making sure that our young people are ready for the next level.
Thanks to each of you for being the light for our students.
We're so grateful to be able to have people like yourselves in this organization that's willing to sacrifice themselves to make sure we have the best education possible in this city.
Thank you for coming back this year. We are so excited to have some great outcomes.
Apreciamos el trabajo que han hecho durante el año pasado.
I know you face a lot of challenges, and certainly this year will present its own unique challenges. But I'm so thankful for your commitment to improving student achievement in Fort Worth ISD.
Thank you for being part of the Fort Worth ISD family. We couldn't accomplish all we do without you.
You guys are going to do such a great job getting everything ready to go and making every student feel welcome.
You're choosing to show up and to be there for kids every day. You recognize the potential and the promise in every single student in Fort Worth ISD. So thank you. Thank you for choosing KID.
Dr. Scribner, your 10 o'clock is here now.
Okay, thank you. And now we wrap up our welcome back with some special advice from 2 experts who recently stopped by my office to, well, take a look. You all, the last time we visited, I was in your classroom, and you told me that next year, which is going to start here on August the 16th, you're going to be in kindergarten. Is that true?
Yeah, both of us are going to be in kindergarten. Well, I'm excited because I just never been in kindergarten. I like kindergarten because kindergarten is my life.
So what advice would you give to a brand new teacher? What kinds of things do you think that they should know?
Maybe they will know about Texas and 4th of July.
Texas and the 4th of July, that's a good thing to know about.
Maybe if teachers don't know how, they can figure out how because they have their computer.
Sure, your new teacher, the one that you don't know yet, what do you want her to know about you?
I want them to know about me and Lily. We play a lot.
And what do you think is the best thing that your teachers can teach you?
Reading.
Reading? Why?
Because if you're just so little and you can't like read, then you're gonna have to go to school.
What kinds of things do you hope that your kindergarten teacher will have in her classroom?
A desk.
A desk? What else?
And a mattress.
And a mattress? Why a mattress?
It's that way we sleep.
Oh, I see. To take a nap.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What else?
If you're running, you might get hurt, and then your friend can ask the teacher to get a Band-Aid.
Oh, so Band-Aids also. That's good. So what do you want to learn next year?
I want to learn about math. 1, 2, 3. I want to learn about being a big kid. Lily, you see these stickers?
On 3, we're all going to say, welcome new teachers. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome new teacher. Welcome new teacher. Welcome I really like the meeting.
So if you haven't been in a kindergarten classroom, you will have great respect for those professionals. Lily and Courtney really were amazing, and they are our future, right? We are focused on preparing all students for success in college, career, and community leadership, and that certainly starts in preschool. It starts before preschool. It's the Birth to Kindergarten initiative. So we have had tremendous challenges, not only here in Fort Worth, but across Texas, across the nation, whether it be recovering from the pandemic, the current mask debate, which is passion on both ends of the continuum, critical race theory also. Those really have become, unfortunately, taken all the air out of the room and really are distractions. Our focus is on preparing students for success and teaching reading, writing, and mathematics. As Gary mentioned, we are moving toward calling for a bond on November the 2nd. This bond would be 100% providing resources to allow every student the opportunity to be successful in classrooms, in fine arts, and in athletics, because we understand it's important to educate the whole child. Now, the health crisis. We cannot allow a public health crisis to become a generational educational crisis. We know what happened during the pandemic with a number of students selecting virtual learning. For some students, virtual learning, online learning made sense. Those students who had the family infrastructure, who had Wi-Fi, who had devices. But in Fort Worth ISD, like many large urbans, we serve 85% student population lives at or below the federal poverty line. It's eye-opening. Yes, we have pockets of affluence. We have pockets of middle-income families. But 4 out of 5 students qualify for free and reduced lunch. That means they live at or below the federal poverty line. That's a formula of a family of 4 earning $30,000 or less annually. So that's the reality in some neighborhoods, many neighborhoods in Fort Worth, and we want to make sure we're supporting those students with not only academically, but certainly from a social and emotional and health perspective. Again, as we said, and we're going to continue to repeat, and daily health checks, campus cleanings, hand hygiene, social distancing. Contrary to to urban myth, in fact, Fort Worth ISD has moved in 2021 in the right direction. We've been saddled with our 2019 data because that was the last data the TEA counted. But the last batch of reliable data actually was January, or middle of the year data, right before the pandemic. I think Fort Worth ISD probably was the most disappointed of any district that we were unable to take the STAR exam in the spring of 2020. Gary, it's a $1.49 billion bond, but it's okay, because if you're gonna round up to 1.5, then we should all round up our 79.9 letter grade as well, correct? Far be it from me to pass judgment, though. So how are we gonna get out of this? We cannot remediate our way out of this issue. We have to have high quality classroom instruction. It's about acceleration, not remediation. We cannot dumb down the curriculum. We have to teach at the grade level, but provide scaffolding support for our students. Extended school day, extended school year. Now that we know how to operate on Zoom, in fact, I know we have some Rotarians watching today from their office or home on Zoom. We too can do tutoring, small group tutoring, individual tutoring virtually as well. Accelerated learning also, of course, many of our students experienced trauma when they were home for almost 18 months. So we need to really focus on social and emotional learning, family engagement, and connectivity. You may know this by now, but we have constructed Wi-Fi towers in Eastern Hills neighborhood, Morningside neighborhood, the Stop 6 neighborhood, and Rosemont. 4,000 modem devices are in homes in those coverage areas. We're gonna expand to all the other zip codes, most of them in East Fort Worth and some pockets of South Fort Worth on the north side, to make sure that everyone gets Wi-Fi access, robust and reliable Wi-Fi. That's an equity issue. How on earth can students do their homework or search the internet when we don't have the devices? We, in fact, thanks to your help in the TRE, we were able to provide a device to all students, kindergarten through 12th grade. Prior to the pandemic, we had one-to-one, a Chromebook or a laptop for our students from 6th grade to the 12th grade, but now we have it district-wide. And of course, the little ones, the kindergartens and first graders, have tablets. Now, school finance is complicated. We know that the school district is receiving additional dollars to support our learning recovery, but there are buckets and there are constraints. As you can see, the 2017 TRE has been focused on technology, focused on buses, focused on improvement. The 2020 compensation for teachers, that teacher incentive allotment is a performance-based. When students achieve at higher levels, teachers are rewarded for that. With regard to safety and security, our response, the devices that we talked about, is also the safety measures and the connectivity. So these buckets are for teachers, are for extended day, are for extended school year, but they cannot be used for facilities. They cannot be used for infrastructure. And Fort Worth ISD has 12 million square feet of infrastructure. So when we have these dollars for instruction, we need to remember that they are not allowed to be spent on building schools or improving classrooms. And we also know how important the physical plant is. Facilities impact student achievement. U.S. Department of Education, Harvard University, all have made the connection between quality facilities and student achievement. Light, acoustics, air quality, inviting spaces, technology that optimizes instruction, and making students feel safe and secure. When I started my teaching career as a high school Spanish teacher in Philadelphia, that school was a converted factory, a factory that used to make those orange cones on the streets. And at my classroom, we looked out the window and saw a brick wall of the building next door. Now, students aren't very inspired by those surroundings. We have to create the opportunity, and you'll see here in a moment what we're talking about. Here are some pictures of our current middle schools. There's McLean Middle School on the left, Kirkpatrick Middle School on the right. And when we think about what our current middle schools look like, a lot of those auditoriums, a lot of those buildings look like they looked when you were in middle school. Here's what our high schools look like. That's Eastern Hills on the left. That's the new library at Eastern Hills. Western Hills on the right. The 2017 bond, 77% of those dollars were spent at the high school level, and those spaces look like post-secondary college campuses, and that's the culture we want to create for our students. Here are our middle schools. Leonard Middle School on the left, William James on the right. And here are our high schools, Southwest High School on the left, and that is what South Hills will look like. That actually is Eastern Hills on the right, but South Hills has the same architecture. So as we decided on how to spend those ESSER dollars, we asked our students, and our students said that we want to make our buildings look better, improvement in facilities, and students don't typically talk about facilities in terms of things that they want to see improving in their schools. So there are specifications for schools, not only at the TEA at the state level, but also in Fort Worth ISD. Only 17% of our middle schools meet the state guidelines for square footage. Only 4% Fort Worth ISD's guidelines. Our facilities master plan is a little bit more advanced, or at least higher standards rather than statewide. And so we conducted a facility condition assessment, and red is bad, green is good. And that's a list of our 23 middle schools, and we see that in many areas an investment certainly is warranted. So why are we doing this, and how are we doing this? Well, I thought in the 1920 school year, the boundary realignment was going to be the top story, but it was a distant second behind the pandemic. What we had for 20 years was a patchwork of boundaries, a patchwork of attendance patterns evolved over 20 years. We hadn't addressed that. So what we decided to do was create a system that was a little bit more logical. Rosemont Middle School sent 8th graders to 4 different high schools, to South Hills, to Pascal, to O.D. Wyatt, and Southwest. If we're talking about vertical alignment for academic programs where the science or math teachers at the high school can do professional development with the middle schools and the elementaries, that's a near impossibility when you have that kind of disjointed system. Fine arts, our band and choir at the high school level, our best bands, our best choirs, our best mariachi programs, they are supported by similar programs at the, we're gonna go back one, at the middle school. So we really wanted to create that. Athletics. We know that in our suburban communities and some smaller towns, The high school coaches are working with the middle school coaches, are working with the elementary school PE. So it's about vertical alignment. So now we have 14 what we call small towns, 14 pyramids now throughout the district, where we have one high school typically supported by 2 middle schools and a half a dozen or so elementaries. The 2017 bond created those high schools that I talked about. And again, 77% of those dollars were spent at the high school level, came in under budget, on time. And we believe from an equity perspective that our students here in Fort Worth deserve the same high quality facilities that students in Southlake or in Aledo have. It's certainly an opportunity. And this 2017 bond was supported by our trustees. You met earlier our trustee Quentin Phillips, but also 2 former trustees who are here, Ashley Paz and Norman Robbins, played a great role in helping guide us and design the implementation of a very, very successful bond. And bonds actually are good for the whole city. We're bringing investment, we're bringing dollars to Fort Worth, and we're touching parts of the city that haven't historically been touched. Tim Carter, who you all know, is the chair of our Citizens Oversight Committee of the bond, and he serves on other bond groups as well, and indicated that our numbers for historically underutilized businesses are remarkable when we compare them to other municipalities and other public sector. With 42% of our investment is going to historically underutilized businesses, African American companies, women-owned companies, Hispanic-owned companies. So what's in the bond? Well, there's 4 questions, and I remember we said there's the academic piece, there's the athletics piece, and the fine arts piece. The athletics piece, per the legislature, has to be broken out into 2 areas. We'll talk about that in a minute. The first and the largest is campus construction and campus reconstruction. For the most part, it's going to be reconstruction, overwhelmingly. We do need to have some new construction out in West Fort Worth and Benbrook. We have overcrowding, lots of rooftops going up out there. And we have overcrowding in one of our elementaries, West Park. We, in the 2017 bond, bought some real estate in the Ventana development. So there is a serious need for a new elementary there. But I think the board believes we also need to have those kind of same opportunities across the district. So not only will we be building a new elementary there, we will be building replacement elementaries in Stop 6, in East Fort Worth and in South Fort Worth. So students in every corner have parity, have the opportunity to experience a new and efficient building. And then we can take a look at opportunities. In fact, meeting with Kara Waddell, there's a great opportunity to repurpose some of our schools for early childhood centers from 0 to 3-year-olds, because we know that 90% of the brain develops before kids even hit kindergarten. But this reconstruction bond will be focused on HVAC, on lighting, communications, plumbing, roofing, windows. We have old schools. Old schools make spacing difficult, make ventilation difficult. 60% of the schools in Fort Worth ISD, 60% were built before 1960. So it's an opportunity to make the old new again. Infrastructure is equal opportunity. Infrastructure is equity. So overwhelmingly, the first proposition will be for bond reconstruction of 1.2 billion. The next is fine arts. Fine arts will focus on high schools and middle schools and all fine arts programs. In the high school bond, we were able to fix the front of the school and the office and the infrastructure there, the secure vestibule, the secure vestibule. So when someone comes to your house, you bring them in the front door and you go to the living room. Our schools, we fixed some of the front doors. Our auditoriums are our living rooms, and they are in sad disrepair. They look exactly like they looked when you went to school in Fort Worth ISD. So we think here's an opportunity in fine arts to improve the seating, lighting, audio visual, all the theatrical lighting also, middle school auditoriums as well. And again, invest in the whole child, invest in our extracurricular programs, band, mariachi, choir, orchestra, drama, and art. Now for the athletics. When we did the the boundary town halls and we visited communities, so many times I heard, in fact, from one of our new board members, Roxanne Martinez, said, you know, here in Diamond Hill, when we play a home game at Farrington, it's further away for our parents than when we play an away game at Lake Worth. You know, why can't we have smaller stadiums embedded into our communities? One on the north side, one on the west side, one on the south side, and invest in our existing stadiums as well. In fact, we have Farrington, we have Clark, and we have Scarborough-Hanley fields. So we only have 3 fields for 14 high schools. So when I came to Texas, they told me about Friday night lights. But here in Fort Worth, we have Thursday night lights, Friday night lights, Saturday afternoon sunlight, and Saturday night lights. And what we want to do is create an opportunity for our kids to be competitive. And so that's an opportunity there. And this is not only for football. This would be a track and field as well as competition gymnasiums embedded into each one of those neighborhoods, so folks would have a sense of a home field. And it's funny, back to football, our football coaches actually lobby to have their games be played at Scarborough-Hanley Field. Why is that? Because it's small. There's only 5,000 seats. It feels like there's a crowd. Farrington holds 18,000, and if we get 1,800 there, it's a good crowd. And same thing with Clark. Athletics at the school site is a different story. We're talking about investing in infrastructure that we already have, our gymnasiums, our middle school sports fields, new turf for all baseball and softball at all 14 high schools. In fact, Pascal went to the playoffs, and so did Diamond Hill in soccer. We cannot host in Fort Worth ISD a home baseball game because those home baseball games, the minimum standard is to play them on turf, and we don't have turf on our field. So we're at a competitive disadvantage there. Again, we're just talking about bringing up to a minimum standard. Goldstein is also a field out there by Wilkerson Grannis that we can host tournaments at, and we think the Wilkerson Grannis should be ADA accessible, and that's a reasonable investment. And also replacing the 14 football field turfs on campus, which are used not only for athletics but also for band practice. So why now? Why are we talking about this? Well, we have historic low interest rates, as you all know. We anticipate rising costs on the horizon. You know that there will be no, thankfully in Fort Worth, we're blessed with strong property values. There will be no tax increase in this bond, and we're staying on track. We talked about a long-term strategic plan. We had a bond in 2013, 4 years later in 2017. In November is 4 years later, and we would like to ask the voters if they are interested in supporting our kids in our classrooms today and the kids who are on their way in the future. Timelines are on July 14th. We had a facilities master plan, called for the bond on the 10th. Registration, early voting, and election day is on November the 2nd. I cannot ask the board, I cannot ask the community influence to vote one way or another. I can simply share with you what would happen if it were to pass. Right now we have 8,000 kids going to school in portable trailers. We would like with the passage of this bond at no tax rate increase, I don't know if I mentioned that, to eliminate students going to school in portable trailers and put them in a 21st century classroom. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you. I believe there's an opportunity for Q&A, for questions, comments, or suggestions. I'm happy to field those. Yes, sir. Right. I like what you did, and it's an opportunity for any kid that wants to tell what I think. You do a great job. Thank you. And I think our mission, again, the former board members and our current trustee also really helped us create this concept of college and career. You know, Fort Worth, we're very, very fortunate to be one of the cities with the highest percentage of high wage, high need jobs for high school grads. So we've seen a 10% growth 3 years in a row in the number of students who are graduating from our career and technical education programs with a certificate or a license. And I think it is, I was just talking to Gene Giovannini, I think it's almost 87%, almost 90% of the vacant jobs out there require more than a high school degree, but less than a 4-year college degree. So if we are focusing on college, career, and community leadership, I think that career option needs to be a quality option. And many of those students are going out, earning a family sustaining wage, and then going back and finishing the additional 2 years later. So thank you for that. Yes, sir.
Kent, where are you on actually spending the money from the 2017 bond election?
We are spending it every day. No, that was a TRE election. So let me go back to that slide. Do you have the one with the all the arrows there, the complex school finance? So we have on the 2017, we are spending, it looks like $60 million through, it's this one. Can you pass me my glasses? I'm getting old. 7. So 69 million has been spent through June of this year. 19.5 million has been spent, is budgeted for the upcoming year. Life cycle improvements at elementary and middle schools, new school buses, safety and security measures, technology improvements, that a lot of those refresh. So our computers, now we have 70,000 devices out with our students, and those Chromebooks need to be refreshed about every 3 years. However, in the backpack of a 7th grader, sometimes their life cycle is shortened a bit. HVAC, energy efficiency, band uniforms and instruments. So those are built into the budget, and the 2020, similarly, we spent about 34 million thus far. And those are going to kind of keep us going. None of these dollars, however, can be used for capital improvement. Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's talk about the bridge. You addressed a minute ago the lack
Yes, absolutely. So it's called our Saturday Quest initiative. So we know that students are behind, and we are targeting specific zip codes, many of our low-income neighborhoods, for an extended school day, an extended school year. But there are students struggling in pockets in all zip codes. And so our Saturday school program will not be simply for the zip codes that you might think about, but it's going to be across the district. Even in high achieving schools, there are a handful of students who are struggling. So we have identified 14 different Saturdays and several sites across our 209 square miles, where in the morning, students will receive structured mathematics and language arts help. And in the afternoon, enrichment opportunities, those STEM trailers, and those kinds of things. So it's actually going to be, it's more than Saturday school. It's going to be very, very targeted for specific students. Thankfully, you know, the TRE also with paying for teacher compensation will allow us to provide stipends to attract teachers to work those Saturdays. So it's an opportunity to provide almost 3 weeks of additional school, 14 days for our students across. It's going to take more than just 1 year though to catch up. We know from the data years ago during the Katrina hurricane, those students from New Orleans, many of them landed here in Texas, and it took them in some cases 3, if not 4 years to get back to the level that they would have been. We don't have 3 or 4 years to wait. We have to dive in and invest in our students today to catch them up as quickly as possible. Yes, sir, and then I'll come to this side. Yes. Well, we have, again, in Fort Worth, we have a few initiatives. The Read Fort Worth certainly is the first one. When I got here, we were talking a lot about collective impact from birth to career, from cradle to career. I think that we saw some growth, and then the pandemic hit, right? T3, I think, is going to be a great opportunity to talk about career preparation, not at high school, but beginning at middle school. What needs to happen is we need to expose students and their parents about the possible pathways that students can take. Freshman algebra, passing freshman algebra is a clear indicator of high school graduation on time, but also working with T3 and the college advising group at TCU is a phenomenal opportunity to have kids help with course selection, making sure that they are on track, and if they get behind, providing summer and extended day opportunities. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think any real estate, if that were to happen, and that's going to be a community process, right? It's not going to be school board and superintendent. It's going to be an open community process, and we will get a great deal of feedback. Those dollars will be used again for facility investment. So, for example, again, so Farrington Field is not something that we are even thinking about in the short term. That has to be a long, iterative community process, in my view. But for example, the current building that we're in, 100 North University, that has been one that has been sold. And we are shrinking our central office. When I got here, we had 400 people in the central office. We're going down to 200. We are putting central office instructional people in satellite buildings across the city, at MG Ellis on the north side, at Hanley on the east side. If you may not know, but there's a Kroger on Bridgewood that is now our teaching and learning center. Phenomenal building for professional development. Our central office is going to shrink and go into 7060 West Camp Bowie, which is the old Neiman Marcus building that used to have 2 schools in it. And from my perspective, those students deserve to be in a school building. They didn't need to be in an old shopping building. So we have moved them into 2 separate schools, one in Valentine and one in Rosemont, and we're shrinking, decentralizing our folks. But back to Farrington, that is that decision will be a community decision. We certainly will have several conversations, several hearings regarding that. I guess time for one more. Yes. Yeah, that's a great. I think the T3 work and programs like that. I've been a superintendent now for 19 years. Next semester I'll start my 20th year as a superintendent, and I would tell people, kids don't drop out of high school in 11th grade. They drop out of high school in 7th grade. They just don't tell anybody, because that's when they become disconnected academically, emotionally, socially. So what we have to do is keep them connected. And I think these programs were providing exposure to the jobs, to the opportunities that are out there, starting in middle school and continuing on. Partnering is huge. We have a new division of innovation where it used to be that vocational education was for the kids who weren't going to college. Career and technical education is just as rigorous. In fact, some of our CTE programs have higher student achievement. We need to communicate with business, ask you what skills and characteristics you're looking for, and then backwards map that into our program. Thank you.